Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Uh, I hope almost 177, around 180 participants have joined. Uh, so am I audible? Please be louder. Okay. Now is it audible? Just leave your message in the chat box. It will be clear for me. Yes or no? Okay. Thank you very much. Uh, on the eve of International Wheelchair Day, we have planned this webinar uh, to create awareness as well as to have some knowledge and idea about the prescription of wheelchair. So before we prescribe wheelchair, what are the basic things we should know about the wheelchair assessment and wheelchair service delivery provision, different parts of the wheelchair? What are the assessment tools we can use to prescribe wheelchair? To address all these questions, all these queries, today we have our speaker, resource person with us. She is from Mobility India. So please welcome Ms. Soumya. By profession, she is a physiotherapist working as a clinical trainer therapy at Mobility India, Bangalore. And she is a certified uh, professional by ISWP for wheelchair service as a wheelchair service provider. So please welcome Ms. Soumya. Um, Soumya, is it audible?
Hello.
Huh.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Okay. Yes, you are audible.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, so before you start, my request to all the participants, if anybody is having any questions, please park your questions in the chat box. At last, we will address all your questions. And one more thing, like to get the certificates, one link I will share at the end of the session in the chat box. That is the feedback link. You all can attend. You all can click on the feedback link, and you can give your feedback. Immediate after you submit your feedback, you will get the certificate. Those who will submit their feedback, they will get the certificate immediately. And also we have one online quiz program. Like at the end of the session, I will share with you the link, so you all can go through that link. Those who are interested to participate in the online quiz on wheelchair only, so for that also you will get digital certificates. And yes, as per the RCI guideline, there is no CRR point for this webinar. So only the on-site CREs will be having points, CRR points. So now onwards, as per the revised guideline, there is no CRR point for webinar. Okay, just for your clarification. Okay, thank you everyone. Over to you, Soumya.
Thank you for introducing me to this webinar. Very good evening to everyone, and welcome you all again for this webinar. Can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you. Because I was given this topic of hello.
Yes, please continue. It is audible.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Because I was given this topic of prescriptive wheelchair for rehabilitation professionals, I first thought that I must tell my audience some data on the global need of wheelchair, scenarios of wheelchair provision, their issues, and how it can be addressed. WHO estimated that more than 70 million people all over the globe, including children, adults, elderly, both men and women, who have the wide range of mobility impairment and also working in the different environment like rural, semi-urban, and urban setup require wheelchair, among which only 5 to 15 percentage of people with the disabilities uh, can access the assistive devices like related to hearing, could be communication, including the wheelchairs. In India, as per the census 2011, 2.68 crore population are disabled, which is 2.1 percentage of total population. By considering their different type of ability, the disabilities, not the abilities, 54 lakhs of population are with the mobility impairment, which is 20 percentage. And on this, WHO identified that 10 percentage of this 54 lakhs population would require wheelchair. And in Karnataka, 10 percentage of 66.8 lakh populations are in need of some wheelchair. If you talk about the scenario of wheelchair provisions, actually 60 percentage of users have rejected using the wheelchair because of unstability, discomfort. The reason behind this could be the wheelchair what the population are using currently are the donated wheelchair. Could also be the used wheelchair. Definitely, the quality of wheelchair will be poor. And in the available product as well, the options which have been provided with the limited choices, quality also will be poor. So the reason is also because of lack of trained professionals in a particular field. And sure. So I'll just begin from here that as per the WHO, which estimated that more than 70 million people all over the globe, including the both men and women, children, elderly, adults, with the wide range of mobility impairment, who working in the different environment such as the rural, semi-urban, and urban are in need of wheelchair. And among this, only 5 to 15 percentage of the people with disabilities are in access to wheelchair, including other kind of assistive devices like could be related to hearing devices, communication, cognition. In India, as per the census 2011, 2.68 populations are disabled, which is 2.21 percentage of total population, among which 20 percentage are with the uh, mobility impairment. By considering their type of disability, 54 lakhs of people have identified with the mobility impairment. And WHO have identified that among these 54 lakhs of population, 10 percentage who are in need of wheelchair. And in Karnataka, 10 percentage of 66.8 lakhs people are in need of some kind of wheelchairs. Talking about the scenario of wheelchair provisions, actually 60 percentage of wheelchair users have rejected using wheelchairs due to uncomfortability and due to unsuitability. The reason also could be because currently in India, who will be using the wheelchair are more with the donated, which also could be already used wheelchair. So definitely the quality of a product could be poor. And with the available wheelchair provided with the limited choices. So Talking on another aspect, training, here actually there are very few institutions who provide a structured training program in this field, and there also are the lack of training or trained professionals in the field who train directly the service users. And with the existing service providers with the limited skills and knowledges providing the wheelchair, which all these have end up with the developing secondary complications like postural defect, like development of a pressure source, environmental barriers, which have been restricted for the user for the optimum usage of wheelchair. And the study also have been conducted on this in 2005 by Mukherjee, which on the donated wheelchair, which have said that 60% of users have been restricted to use wheelchair. This issue can be still addressed by improving the quality of the product, by providing the multiple choices in the product, training the professionals who can directly train the service users, the possible complications which can be reduced, which will improve the quality of life of the individual. At the same time, WHO have also launched guidelines for provision of manual wheelchair, especially at the lesser resource settings in 2005, which includes these 5 chapters: introduction, design and production, which talks about the types of wheelchair, their components, service delivery, user training, training of professionals, policy and planning. Under the service delivery, WHO outlined these 8 steps that wheelchair service delivery professionals who have to follow to provide an appropriate wheelchair. And today in this webinar, we are going to discuss on these 2 elements, assessment and prescription of these 8 steps. But to prescribe an appropriate wheelchair, there should have these 8 steps of training. Talking about the training under the same guidelines, World Health Organization also have developed wheelchair service training packages for the individual to provide an wheelchair by the proper techniques of service delivery, which includes 4 packages at the basic level for sitting upright, and for the user to move on little at the advanced level, who actually requires postural support, intermediate level training will be done, then managers and also training of trainers. Discussing on a wheelchair and an appropriate wheelchair. This has been the old WHO definition, which has come from the guideline, which defines wheelchair is a chair which helps the people to move around with the wheels. Or wheelchair is an assistive device which improves mobility and participation for the person with walking limitation. This definition actually is not in use. What actually a wheelchair does, it provides mobility, absolutely, there is no doubt in that, but it also responsible, which provides the comfort to the user, protection, posture, and improve the confidence and self-esteem of the user. The definition which is in use now is an appropriate wheelchair. To say an appropriate wheelchair, it should meet all these factors. We should meet users' needs, which should improve which should meet the environmental conditions, which could be where he or she will be living, or the work, or the school setup, which also uh, form the easier transfer, which provides upright sitting posture, which also provides the proper sitting, durable, and the wheelchair which can also be maintained and repaired even at the local shop. So all these increased independence of the user, which enhances quality of the life. So wheelchair provision is not only just deliver a product, which also enables all these factors to maintain the healthy and participation in the community fully. I have an video here which talks about appropriate wheelchair. Is it audible to all?
No, actually, video sound is not at all audible.
Okay, just a minute. What about now?
Now the screen is not visible.
Okay, just another minute.
Now just wait a minute.
I'll just unshare and share the screen again.
Yeah, your screen is visible, ma'am.
Is it also audible?
No, ma'am. It is mute. Actually, that login has been mute. Is in mute. Ma'am, I have unmuted everyone so that now you can try it out.
Yeah, thank you. Hope it's audible.
Your screen is not presented. The video we are what you are presenting is not visible. Yeah, you
It's
are
not.
audible.
Okay, let me unshare and share again. Sorry for the interference in between. Hope it's visible now.
Yes, ma'am. It is visible. I think the audio in that video is mute. It's showing it as mute.
I think we can go with the same video. So in between, you can explain.
Okay, so actually, in the audio there is just background music, but actually, what this video shows is about appropriate wheelchair, which needs the user need.
The, the video is not at all visible. You need to share the screen. No problem with the audio. So after playing the video, you can talk in between about the video. Then you can continue with the presentation.
Okay.
That actually felt pretty good. It's like a cup of coffee. Can't go any longer. And backflips for breakfast, I guess. We should give you like a shirt to wear. Nah, it's motivation to land it. This feel like
To see the video, which talks an appropriate wheelchair, what we have discussed the previous slide, meeting the needs of the user as well as the environmental conditions. So to add on, in
Yeah, right. You are
um,
able to start.
okay, thank you. I'm really sorry for the interference. I don't know actually what happened in between. I was not able to share the screen. Shall we continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
sure. Yeah, sure.
yes, madam.
Okay, thank you for the support. What we have discussed so far is about the appropriate wheelchair, and to add on information on the selection of appropriate wheelchair, we'll also discuss on its types and its features. Basically, we have motorized wheelchair, which moves with the electric. The powered wheelchair especially will be prescribed for the high level injuries with the poor hand function, and manual wheelchair that is propelled by the user itself, or who don't have the ability, then can be pushed by other person. Under manual wheelchair, we have a three-wheeler with a long wheel base, which is very stable and much suitable for the outdoor activities, moving on rough terrain, which can be prescribed in the rural areas as well. Four-wheeler available with the long wheelbase as well as with the shorter wheelbase. So what you are seeing here is about the wheelbase, what I'm talking. So this long wheelbase is much suitable for outdoor activities, moving on uneven terrain, and short wheelbase for the indoor activities for moving on soft and even surfaces. This four-wheeler, it can be folding and non-folding. Hope I'm audible to you all.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
madam.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So four-wheeler, it can be folding and non-folding. Folding, which will be easy for the storage and transport. Sometimes these wheels, what you are seeing, also can be removable. But one disadvantage here is that cross-folding oftenly makes the wheelchair weaken, unstable, which can be later harder for the user to push. They're also available child size wheelchair, best suitable for the children's. Orthopedic wheelchair, you all might have been seen this commonly using in the hospital setup, with the short wheelbase, as we have already mentioned. Short wheelbase best suitable for the indoor activities, for moving on even surfaces. Sports wheelchair, much stable and active wheelchair prescribed for the sports activities. Also available supportive seat wheelchair, so which provides support to an individual, like head support, trunk support. Here adductor wedge is placed for prevention of contracture, calf pads. It can also be adjustable with the angle, posterior tilting is also possible. This is advanced level wheelchair. Actually, what we have discussed so far are basic levels, but this is the quite advanced level wheelchair for the user who really requires additional support for sitting upright. Tricycle, used for the user who had to long for the who had to move for the longer distances. Discussing on their features, brakes. The short lever brakes used for the good hand function, trunk control, and it makes a sideways transfer easier without any restrictions. What you are seeing here is the long lever brake, suitable for who will be having difficulties with the hand function and balance issues. Also, they're available single lever brakes, activating in the one hand, especially used for the stroke user. Push handle, stronger the push handle makes the frame much stronger, and also easier for the individual to assist the user. And if it is a child, provide the high push handle, which will be easier to push on. rear wheels or back wheels, it will be helpful for moving the wheelchair. This will support the push rim, which will be used for the propelling. Position the rear wheel in such a way where the user will be holding on top of the push rim with the elbow flexed to 90-degree. If this will be placed much posteriorly, will be difficult for the user to push on, makes the user fatigue very soon. So, hello. Okay, so these rear wheels and caster wheels, how wider it is, it will actually prevent the sinking of the wheelchair, especially moving on the sand or muddy areas, because it allows easier to push. Next part which we are talking here is on the push rings or rims. As you are seeing here is for the self propelling, but user can also can apply the brake by using their hands. It will be available in the plastic uh, painted as well, which is easily available, affordable as well, and if it is a chrome material, which is actually durable. Caster wheels. Caster wheels actually helpful for the turning. In which direction the rear wheels will move, in such direction caster wheels will adjust to move on. So it there is another benefit. The larger the diameter of the caster wheel, easier for rolling on and to rolling on the objects to clear the grounds, and a smaller diameter usually used for the smooth surfaces. Footrest. Footrest actually which gives a comfort, and very important is even a weight distribution with which maintains the upright posture in the wheelchair. So these are available with the flip up, which will be easy for the user for the standing transfer, which don't restrict the transfer. It will be available with the height adjustable, if need to adjust the height to maintain the upright posture, and also in few of the wheelchair it will be available with the rigid, which makes the frame stronger, and available with the non-folding wheelchair. So but here disadvantage is a transfer could be the difficult. Footrest and foot strap. Foot straps, it will maintain the even weight bearing. Actually, there is some disturbance. Hello, hello, participants.
Yes, yes, please continue. Audible.
Okay, so participants, please mute your.
Yes, yes. Continue, please,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. Thank you. So foot straps actually it will maintain the weight bearing through the foot, and it also will be helpful to prevent unwanted movement, jerky movements. Uh, so here you can see that the calf strap and the ankle strap, actually it will prevent sliding the feet backward of the foot rest, and also here foot strap available, which will also prevent the backward slipping of the footrest. So next part available is the armrest, which you can see here, which will be helpful for the even distribution of upper body weight, and it also provides comfort, available with the curved, fixed, and also non-fixed. So these curved and the low armrest, which forms the line of rear wheel, it don't restrict the transfer technique. So these will be available. And if the armrest will be at the higher level, so it may lead to difficulty for the user to reach up to the push rims and make feel uncomfortable to push on. So this is the advantage of the armrest, disadvantage of the armrest. So before prescribing, take care of all these. Also available with the detachable, which will be easier for the user for transferring from wheelchair to another surfaces. Backrest for the posture and for support, available with the solid fabric and also adjustable. So height adjustable as well as angle adjustable, can also be tilted based on the need of the wheelchair. Wheelchair seat, it provides base for the wheelchair and also it bears weight of service user. It also available with the fabric, with the cloth as well as the solid. So we discussed on caster wheel, footrest, foot strap, okay, backrest, seat. Okay, the previous slide discussing on cushion. Cushion actually it provides comfort, postural support, as well as will be provided for the user for who will be working for the long period of time, which also relieves the pressure under the seat bone. The possible development of pressure source which can be prevented with this. Available with the various types, with the first one which you can see the contour, the shape foam cushion with the two layers, the top layer as well as the base layer, the layered cushion, as well as air or gel filled cushion, which will automatically adjust to the shape of the wheelchair user's body, and also it will be helpful for the weight distribution under the bony areas. So based on the need of the user, based on their difficulties, you can select the cushions. These all are the pressure relief cushions. Moving on to the assessment, wheelchair assessment need to be done, which will be helpful for a prescription of appropriate wheelchair type and their components. Assessment is actually the second step of service delivery, right after the referral and appointment. It consists of two parts: interview and physical assessment. So under the interview, next slide. So in the interview, where next slide. So in the interview, where you will be discussing on collecting the basic information of the user, setting up the goal, where you are gathering, understanding the physical condition of the user, understanding their lifestyle and environment, indoor or outdoor, and you're also knowing whether user is using the existing wheelchair. So basic informations where you will be collecting from the user, uh, uh, and set up goals where wheelchair users can be maintained healthy and with the maximum participation in the community. Understand the physical condition of the user. By understanding this, note down the key points under the conditions, like if it is cerebral palsy user who actually requires the upright sitting posture, and if it is a polio, select the multi-layered cushion which will give the comfort to the user. And if the spinal cord injury patient, usually they'll be having sensory issues, so better option is the pressure relief cushion. And for stroke, Yes, as we have discussed, single liver break is the better option if because one side body will be affected, as well as as well as the flip up footrest for transferring easily, standing for the standing transfer. And yes, pressure relief cushion, you can go for it if there will be sensory issues. Frail elderly population, geriatric population, flip up footrest is the better option for the comfort. And if it is user like with the bowel and bladder impairment, so you can select waterproof cover in the cushion. The possible pressure source can be prevented. And if it is a user, if you found the unwanted movements or jerky movements in the lower extremity, so where you can apply the straps which can be prevented unwanted movements. Talking about the lifestyle and environment, understand where the user wants to use the wheelchair, indoor or outdoor activities, and based on that what we have discussed, the types and components of the wheelchairs can be selected. Know the distance traveled by the user. So if the user traveling more than 5 kilometers, the better option is the tricycle. And if it can be managed within 5 kilometers, can be managed with the manual wheelchairs, can be used regularly. Hours per day using the wheelchair, longer the hours will be used by the wheelchair user, so pressure on the cushion will be higher. So there will be having high chances for development of the pressure source. So providing pressure relief cushion is the better option. And also if you reduce the back height, so which will keep the shoulder free, which will be easy for the wheelchair user to propel. So and also understand the transfer, whether user can independently transfer by himself or requires assistance, or whether it is standing or non-standing. This will helpful for selecting the components of the wheelchair, whether you have to provide a flip up footrest, or and also it will be helpful for training purpose, the transfer training purpose. And type of toilet, whether user will be using the squat, western or adapted, based on that you can select which transfer technique is suitable for that wheelchair user. Also know, does the wheelchair will be used in the public or for the private transport. It will give an idea whether to provide the cross sliding wheelchair, foldable wheelchair, or the detachable rear wheel wheelchair. So this idea will be given here, which can squeeze movely easily, and can be fitted into those transport. Moving on to next, understand the physical assessment here. Physical assessment, uh, know whether user is having any sensory issues, or either could be lack of sensation or absence of sensation. So if sensation is good, there is absolutely no issues in that. If there will be lack or with the absence of sensation, the better option is the pressure relief cushion to prevent the pressure sore. So pressure sore, it is a painful wound which occurs due to the pressure falling on the surfaces. Uh, Especially it develops in the user who will be working for long period of time with the sensory issues without changing their positions. So pressure source actually available with the four stages. The stage one, if you move to next slide, I have the pictures to show the four stages of pressure source. Yeah, so stage one, uh, where there will be discoloration, redness in the skin will be large, and if you press that part of the skin, the depression which won't come back even within 30 minutes. And the stage two, where you can see the blisters, or there also will be seen a shallow wound. And stage three, where there will be deeper wound, and all three layers of the skin actually will be uh, damaged. And fourth one, stage four, including all three layers, where the wound reaching to the muscles and bones. This is the worst stage of pressure sore actually, which can lead to infection as well as death of the individual. So previous slide. So if you move on the physical assessment. Hello, previous slide. Yeah, so here you note down whether the wheelchair user is having the current pressure sore. If yes, then will be at what stage. So if it is stage 1, 2, it's very important to relieve the pressure in that area. And if it is 3 and 4, if you have noticed, so better to be prescribed to the dermatologist for the medical care. Also check for the previous pressure source, where you'll be seeing the wound mark. So note down the points and identify the risk factors. So these are the risk factors for development of the pressure source. Also know whether user can move or is immobilized in a particular position, or will be there any moisture area in any parts of the body. Could be water, or could be with user with the incontinence issues. Observe for the posture. Observe also for the diet of the user. If the user will be with the drinking inadequate water, which will directly or indirectly affect the skin. Aging and underweight or overweight. So in all these factors, if you identify three or more than three factors, where the user will be always at a risk to develop a pressure sore, and your option for the prescription is the pressure relief cushion. So know the method of pushing, whether user will be able to use both the hands to push, or whether user is using only one hand, right or left, or no, not possible, need to be pushed by some other person. There also will be user who will be using the foot for the propelling, so who will be having the hand related hand function related difficulties. So this would help you for selecting the component, and especially will be helpful for teaching the transfer techniques. So measurement, where you can also correlate for appropriate wheelchair, taking the hip width measurement, seat depth of the seat, calf length, backrest, so at the lower level and higher level. Prescription, so long what we have discussed, the types of the wheelchair, their components, their features, and also collect the information from the assessment, which will be helpful better for the prescribing an appropriate wheelchair. So prescription means the selection. So select the appropriate wheelchair, and best match with the wheelchair based on the types, components, and also cushions wherever is required, the type of the cushions. So also agree with the wheelchair user which training need to be done for uh, for the easily propelling. Prescription is the right after stage of assessment of service delivery. The wheelchair professional also should know the details of the available wheelchair and the cushions which will be available at the local level for the better prescription. So so detail in the sense, yes, that cushion if available, what type of cushion it is, whether it will be matching best for your user, the frame, whether it is long wheelbase or short wheelbase, to correlate with the activities indoor and outdoor, whether it is folding, whether it is a rigid. So if you have the user need with the transportation, also know the features of armrest, back rest, foot rest, so size range, and are there any adjustable options where you can adjust based on the need of the wheelchair. So if the wheelchair cushions locally available, uh, get the information of the type and the components of the wheelchair. So you can also check those informations with the brochures, so where will be provided the summaries, a specification on the types and the components. So if not available, so you ask for it. So it's better to wait than directly providing the wheelchair. So better to wait and take the right decision based on the needs of the wheelchair. So also give the option to the wheelchair user that yes, make familiar that we have these are the types and these are the components are the adjustable, non-adjustable, and then user will be expressed what they actually need, and based on that the right wheelchair can be prescribed which can prevent the secondary complications. So here is just an example of printed prescription which talks on the product details. So next. Yeah. So key points to consider here is what we have discussed on appropriate wheelchair. I'll summarize again, which should need which should meet the need of the user, and it should meet the environmental condition of the user for indoor outdoor, which also should be easier for the transferring from one surface to another surfaces, and also it should be easily repaired even at the local shop. So we also discussed on the various types and their components of the wheelchair, discussed on the assessment by with the two parts, interview and the physical assessment, and also we have discussed on the next we also have discussed on the prescription. So one thing you remember here, that to prescribe any wheelchair you should definitely do the assessment, and you also should have the knowledge on different types of the wheelchair and components of the wheelchair. So, and if the wheelchair locally available, get the brochure details of those product. Shall we move to next? So at Mobility India, we also have a wheelchair testing a lab, which will be done to check the stability, the quality of the wheelchair. before prescribing to the service wheelchair user. So the quality of the wheelchair will be checked here. Yeah, actually, what we have discussed is two elements of service delivery for the wheelchair user. But basically, it is 5 days, 40 to 48 hours of training, which will be done to provide an appropriate wheelchair, which will be done at yeah, this is just an information for you all. If you would like to contact us for the training or for the wheelchair provision, or if you want to know more about the testing lab, you can always contact. You're free. You can feel free to contact us. So here I would like to start my presentation with the short video. If you could play. Last slide actually contains video. Just a minute. Actually, this is a very good video. So we'll give a try if possible.
Okay, it was a very nice presentation. If anybody is having any questions, please ask. I have not seen a single question in the chat box. Everybody is asking about the link, feedback link. So if any queries, any questions, please ask. Or else the information which was shared by our resource person, Ms. Soumya, in the slide, you can contact with Mobility India also. Mobility India, it is one organization in Bangalore. It deals with assistive devices. So wheelchair also you can contact to Mobility India. Okay. So I'm sharing the feedback link in the chat. You all can go to the link. So once you click on the link and give your feedback, immediately you will get your certificate in the mail. And also, um, I will send a quiz link. May, in your mail, whenever you are having time, you can attend that quiz, online quiz, to get the digital certificate. So I think one question has been raised for the 15-year child. Maybe this is incomplete question. Maybe we can discuss on 15-year child what are the things can be taken care while selecting appropriate wheelchair.
So the question is for the 15-year child.
15-year child, what are the things we can consider for prescribing a wheelchair?
Okay, so as we have discussed, the basic thing is you should have the knowledge on the types of the wheelchair and their components, the features of the wheelchair, and yes, the very important thing is the assessment. So consider what is the need of the wheelchair user. You can also take the support of the family members, and based on that, you can prescribe the wheelchair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If any questions, we can address all the questions. We'll try. How we measure the performance of wheelchair endurance? Is there any scale? So one more question has been raised. Is there any scale or a tool which we can use for quantifying, for assessing the performance of the for quantifying the endurance
Yes,
of
actually,
the
what
wheelchair
I
user?
have, yeah, thank you for the question. So, what I have put it in the slide that we have the testing lab which will assess the stability, the endurance, the strength of the wheelchair, so which have done three tests, which I actually don't remember, and I have not been directly involved in that testing, but definitely I can contact you later, or you can contact directly to the number what have been shared.
Okay. Thank you
Definitely, we will.
very much. One more question we can take up. Like the what is the maximum Miss Samreen Haider has asked. What is the maximum height of the wheelchair? Maximum height of the wheelchair.
Maximum height of the wheelchair. See, uh, you are asking about backrest.
Yes, the question itself it can be specific. The wheelchair can be specialized based on the person also, based on the
Yeah.
user. So
Yes.
it can be selected as per that.
Yeah. So as we have discussed that measurement, which is one of the assessment form. So you're taking the measurement and you are best matching with the available wheelchair.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hope all have received the feedback link in the chat. If you have received, please type yes in the feedback link. In the chat box, please type yes that you have received the feedback link. So one more question has been raised. What are the different types of wheelchair available for CP children?
Different types of available for the CP children under the manual wheelchair. The best wheelchair which can be prescribed is the supportive seat wheelchair, and with the high level based on a GMFCS scale, you can also prescribe the motorized wheelchair if the user will be with a poor hand function. So both are the options, but the best option is the supportive seat wheelchair, especially prescribed for the cerebral palsy children, and also for children with the delayed developmental milestones.
Okay. Thank you very much. Uh, One more last time, I'm sending the feedback link in the chat box. Please click on the feedback link. Those who have uh, gone through that feedback link. Okay, thank you very much. Now I request all the participants to turn on the camera at least so we can take a snapshot. So I will allow everyone, all the participants to turn on the camera. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for attending the webinar, and uh, thank you all the participants as well as the resource person for making this webinar successful. I hope the knowledge shared by our resource person will be fruitful in delivering the person with disability. Like whenever you deal with person with disability and you come across about prescription of the wheelchair, definitely the knowledge which you have shared in this webinar, it will help you. Hope we'll meet again uh, in another webinar. And before we end the webinar, I'd like to thank all the participants and the resource person, Ms. Soumya. Thank you very much for accepting our request and giving this fruitful lecture. And also, I thank Mobility India for accepting your request for this webinar. And also, I thank our director, Nikhil, as well as director CRC Awagi, giving me this opportunity to organize this webinar. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
So we will meet again.
thank you. Yeah, thank you, even CRC Davangere, for giving me this opportunity to speak on this webinar. And again, I'm really sorry for the disturbance in between. Uh, Hope this webinar have met your need. So, but yes, 1.5 hour what we have spent here might not be sufficient for prescribing appropriate wheelchair. But definitely, even in future, we are free to. You are free to contact us, and we are free to share the informations and knowledge. Thank you so much.